The verdict, Supreme Court verdict in the Babri Masjid case has come as a very disturbing shock for the Muslim community in India. They are shocked and grieved, unhappy about it because they consider that the Supreme Court verdict is not justified. It is a fact that Babri Masjid has been in the possession of the Muslim community for more than 400 years. That right from the beginning of the mosque, 1526. Muslims have been praying there. They have been in possession of the property, and they have had absolute control over the mosque and its premises. But from 1949 onwards, there has been certain issues when a group of individuals from another community in a secret manner installed a Rama idol inside the mosque, which resulted in the closure of the mosque for all kinds of activities. And in 1992, in a concerted attack, in a one-sided attack, the Karsevaks of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and other Hindutva organizations completely destroyed the mosque. And ever since, the case has been going on in the various courts of the country. Of course, the case regarding the ownership of the property, the control of the property has been going on even before that. Now, after the Allahabad High Court, which divided the property into three parts and gave it to three organizations, Hindu-Muslim organizations, the Supreme Court has decided to give the entire property to a trust for the building of the Rama temple there. It means that the Muslim community will have to completely vacate all their rights in their particular property and take possession of an alternative site somewhere else in Ayodhya. But if you look at the way the court has arrived at the decision, it is very clear that the possession of the Muslim community, the continuous possession of the Muslim community has been upheld by the court. The court has also found that the Sangha Parivar campaign, the allegation that the mosque has been built after destroying a Hindu temple, is a wrong campaign, because there is no evidence that immediately before that there was a Hindu temple. Whatever structure was there, it was there almost 400 years ago. So there is a gap of almost 400 years, 4 centuries between the earliest structure and the construction of Babri Masjid. So it completely denies, rejects the campaign, the claim that Babri Masjid was built after destroying a temple. Anyway, the case has been going on for so many years. It has created so much of terror in the country. It has created so much of pain in the country and political turmoil in the country. But what is the response of the two parties concerned in this particular case? Look at the Muslim response. The Muslim organizations like Babri Masjid Action Committee, All India Personal Law Board, the Uttar Pradesh Sunni Central Waqf Board, and various political, social organizations representing the Muslim community, they have taken the position that this is a very painful decision on the part of the Supreme Court. We are very unhappy about the decision of the Supreme Court. The decision is an unjust one. But at the same time, they refuse to be drawn into an emotional response into the matter. Instead, what the community seems to have decided upon is that they will go by democratic response. They will take the legal recourse, whatever legal recourse is left to them, whatever legal actions are possible to them, whatever media support is available to them, whatever democratic response is available to them. So it shows that the community is showing the maturity of a very sober and thoughtful reaction to this kind of a provocative action. It is an emotional occasion. Even then, the community has been able to withstand the internal tensions, the internal confusions, and present a very sober, thoughtful, and determined political reaction. Undoubtedly, this is a determined and a dignified reaction to a very serious political and emotional challenge. It shows that the community has been able to withstand the pressures of emotions and present a very balanced and thoughtful public image. Now, let us look at the other alternative. Suppose the court, instead of giving it to the trust to build a temple, actually handed over it to the Muslim community because it was a mosque and they were in possession of the mosque for 4.5 centuries, and there is no evidence that they had actually destroyed anything to build that mosque. So legally, historically, the Muslims are the rightful heirs to this property. If that has been accepted and the property given to the Muslims, what would have been the reaction of the other side? If you look at the history of the Babri Masjid campaign, Ram Janmabhoomi campaign, you will see that it would have been a very violent reaction. Why? Because in 1949, what they had done was a very surreptitious, illegal action. The FIR in the particular case of a few people entering the mosque in the darkness of night and installing an idol in the mosque premises. The FIR names the persons involved. The FIR says that it's an activity without any legal basis. And the Prime Minister of India at that time, Jawaharlal Nehru, had actually asked the Chief Minister of UP, Vittalbhai Patel, Govind Vallabhbhai Patel, that it must be removed. But it was not removed. Instead, the Faizabad collector, Mr. K.K. Nair, insisted that if that idol is removed, there is going to be chaos, there is going to be big trouble. So he was using the alibi of law and order to justify an illegal action, and that has remained there for all these years. Of course, Mr. Nair was rewarded. He was a Jansangh activist. He was given big positions after his retirement. That is another matter. After that, in 1986, Rajiv Gandhi government decided to open the locks of Babri Masjid so that Hindu sections can come in and offer prayers. And instead of prayers, Karsevaks came, and Shilanyas happened. So many things happened. At the end of it, in 1992, December 6, thousands of Karsevaks surrounded the structure and destroyed it without the police taking any action to prevent it. So it was a very clear illegal action. It was a criminal action and a challenge to the law and order situation in the country. A challenge to the rule of law in the country, because the Supreme Court had been given an assurance by the UP government that nothing would happen. The UP government had given an assurance to National Integration Council that nothing would happen. The UP Chief Minister had given an assurance to the Prime Minister of India that nothing would happen. But what happened was the destruction of the mosque. It was a criminal action. It was an illegal action. And after that, what has happened? In various parts of the country, so many riots happened. Thousands of people have been killed. And basically, it was the Muslim community which suffered huge losses in all these actions. Thousands of people have been killed and they have lost lots of property, and the community has been suffering from all these miseries in all parts of the country without any let-up. And this is not an isolated incident. If you look at Sangh Parivar response in all these matters where their interests are involved, they take very little interest in law and order. They take very little interest in what is called the rule of law. For example, in Kerala, when the Shabarimala verdict came in 2018, in which the Supreme Court said that women of a particular age could enter the mosque. What was the reaction all over Kerala? It's very clear that Sangh Parivar activists came out into the street, started creating trouble. A lot of violence was there. And violence happened not only in the streets of Kerala, but even at the Sannidhanam of the temple. So that is the history. That is the way they have been reacting to any incident that goes against their interest. So if in the case of Babri Masjid, the verdict had gone against their interest, we can safely say that the country would have been burning, though Sangh Parivar people have said that, and the Prime Minister said that there shall never be any problem. Law and order should be maintained. But that is not the history. That is not the history, and that is not the experience of the country, because whenever their interests were involved, they had taken to the streets and created violence and mayhem. So that is why the Muslim response today becomes a very ideal and very important one. It shows that the Muslim community has been able to maintain its calm, maintain its composure, and create and present a very thoughtful, balanced and disciplined picture of the community. That they are not being provoked into taking law into their hand. They are having a very balanced approach about it, and they are going by legal matters, a legal road to justice, a democratic road to justice, and a determined fight for the community's interest even in the days to come. It's a response that shows that the community is in a position to withstand the pressures despite all the challenges they are facing. And this is a conclusion recently presented by a scholar from Oxford who had studied the case regarding Hadia's conversion. Hadia was a Hindu girl who converted into Islam and married a Muslim boy from Kerala. She faced a lot of troubles from the community, from even the police department. Even the media refused to listen to her voice, and she was isolated. Her studies had to be discontinued. So many troubles. And finally, she was able to fight her case in the courts of law. And in the Supreme Court, she was able to win the case, and her rights to practice her religion and her right to be with her husband was completely upheld by the Supreme Court in a great victory for the girl and the Muslim community. But this particular legal action was managed by, controlled by, done by a group of individuals, lawyers connected with the Popular Front of India, who decided that the girls' fight for justice will have to be supported in a democratic manner, using all democratic and legal facilities available to a citizen of the country under the Indian Constitution. And they were successful about it. And the Oxford scholar says that this shows the maturity of the community to present a very sharp and intelligent reaction in the troubled times against the challenges the community is facing today. I have a feeling that the response now seen from the Muslim community with regard to the Babri Masjid also actually underlines, substantiates the conclusion reached by the Oxford scholar that the Indian Muslim community is now reaching a new stage where the community is able to withstand the kind of pressures, present a very balanced, disciplined and strong reaction to every kind of challenge. And it means that despite every difficulties, the Muslim community is likely to be successful in its path for victory, justice and equality in this country. Thank you.